Okay, so this is the MakerWhoop. I promised a build video of this for a minute, and I've been working on so many versions of this that the build video has kind of gotten pushed off. And since now it's kind of to a point where this frame, it didn't print very well. There was a lot of air in it. I hadn't dried the roll yet, so it kind of started to do a delam a little bit here. Otherwise, this Tallman, it's a nylon elastomer. It's PCTPE by Tallman, and it's incredible. It really takes a beating, but if it's not printed well, it does kind of delam like this, but it doesn't seem to affect the flight characteristics at all. Let me rip this apart real quick. I could take a minute to discuss print materials. I have had decent success with a carbon infused PLA. What has so far actually been the best is this Tallman PCTPE. It's got a little bit of flex to it. It takes a beating. But the carbon PLA does work. I ran that for a long time. If you stick with PLA, my recommendation is to print a lot. Just print extra of these guards or the motor mounts, print extra of the duct plates. Just have extras on hand. Okay, so this frame is printed much better. You can see there is still a couple little spots here where there are air pockets, but as a whole, it's much better, much better. So the biggest difference between the PLA and the nylon elastomer version, the PCTPE, goodness, is I added some thickness here to kind of stiffen the frame a little bit, because it does have a tendency to kind of curve like this for now. I have some ideas to fix that, but I just haven't gotten there quite yet. And there is a rib here to stiffen the whole arm through the curve. So the question that I've gotten about the arms a bunch is what direction they go. They go opposite the way that they print. So they are actually mounted upside down into the frame. So like that. So this is what I do first. Nylon has such a smooth finish too, that I actually go back through, and when I get done building it, I will put a dab of super glue kind of behind this little flap here, and it pins these little motor mounts in perfectly. Another thing to make sure when you're building, there's an opening here in the 4 little prongs for the mount. This opening needs to be towards the inside, otherwise your motors won't be keyed right for the wires to come straight out this way. So next is kind of this. These are the original battery mounts. So you would actually run a screw through here, and then you could actually tighten it down like this. These mounts are a little heavier than I wanted. Together they're about 1.1 grams. So I've been working on fixing those. I'm actually going to put some prototype mounts on that I just printed up today. These are definitely going to change, but I do want to give these a shot. I'm trying to make them a little more accommodating so they'll stretch here. I need to do some more work on this, but these together only weigh 0.5 gram. So it's much better on weight. First, I've run the screws through these. These actually do need to go in first a little bit. So what I do is I try to screw these in until one of these spacers just fits. So you have just a little bit of screw hanging out there. And then I do that for all 4 sides. Okay, now for the fun part. Now we gotta try to cram all of the electronics back through here. And I usually start with these antennas. And slowly start to work the motors through. This actually has an extra layer of complication to it since I run a RunCam split on mine. It does add a little bit of extra weight, but doesn't seem to affect it too much. And for the ability to have HD footage, I'll gladly take the weight hit. Oh, but I lost a wire. Well, I suppose this now turned into a tiny repair also. Alright, let's get back to it. So, anyway, get everything all lined up here. Nope, forgot about the battery lead. See, and then because you pre-set up these screws and spacers, that pretty much should just sit right there. If you don't have a split or another board, you actually don't need to do another round of spacers. You could just put a canopy right on it. This is another question I've gotten quite a bit. This mount is actually designed for a RunCam split, so it actually has holes for the little micro cameras. It really wasn't intended for like the standard, you know, like all-in-one. You know, like these guys. I actually think they do fit, but not really its intended purpose. So I'm working on a mount for these. To people who have this kind of camera will be able to run, you know, one of these mounts. But if you do kind of the same thing you did before, you just run a screw up till you just get a little bit of screw at the top. So I want you to say that. Okay, so now you got to put a little cover on. I try to use all plastic nuts for this, but I didn't have all plastic nuts, so I try to just use the metal nuts anywhere that they're not going to be touching any plastic and just not going to be a big deal at all. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I just use the metal ones here. So on these front ones, I'm a little more careful, these front three, not to poke out the screw too far. Because it needs to poke out just a little bit, but this is where we're going to mount the camera mount, so it needs to just have just enough to grab the camera mount, but not much else. So, and it'll thread up right into the camera mount there. Kind of just use the nut on that side to help hold tension a little bit better. And we just slip the little skull cap back on here. This guy actually just zip tie back here, but you kind of have to do that after you glue that. So we'll get the motors going here. So if you slip these first two motors in here, then you can get the antennas. Through here. I don't tend to do much else with these antennas. I've never had an issue from here. They've always kind of just hung like that, and there's never been a problem. I've debated putting or making some antenna loops here to kind of just give it an additional support to hold this whole wire up. It's just never been an issue for me. So if you would like to fly this and you have any questions or suggestions, there is a Facebook group. Just search MakerWhoop. It's pretty easy to find. But I would love suggestions. I would really like this to be kind of a community thing. I feel like we're all better together. So the more ideas and the more support we have, I feel like the better whoop we're gonna get. I would wait to glue these though. They'll slip out when you're building it like this. But if you glue them beforehand and you have a hard time getting the motors in this gap here, it's nice to be able to take these back out. You know, I suppose alternatively, you could take these out, mount the motors on this. I've been doing it this other way for a while because I started with the PLA frame. And that was always how I did it with that one. But if you're struggling with the other way, this might work better for you. Then you could just mount it back in the frame. That also works. almost missed some. So you do want to make sure, though, that you don't have any screws touching windings when you screw these in. This material is a little bit soft. So if you really reef these down, that is a possibility. Oh, that's the one. So again, I'll super glue these down real quick before I put this down. I usually just double sticky tape the receiver on the inside, on the underside here. Because I put batteries here, which I don't have any in front of me, go figure. The battery sits here. It really keeps the receiver in. And I mean, the double sticky tape, that's just, it's not going anywhere. So, but this is essentially it. This is the MakerWhoop. Let me wrap up all the other stupid stuff, do the super glue, zip tie this down. I'll grab a battery. I'll show you the new battery mounts, which actually go this way, or the idea, at least, for the new battery mounts. And yeah, be right back with this thing all buttoned up. So here you go. This is the completed MakerWhoop. It's all glued together. New mounts are on. RunCam is all in. I hope this answered some of your questions. If you have any more questions, either materials or components lists, whatever, go find us on Facebook. We have a page for it. Materials, print settings, stuff like that is a huge topic of conversation. So, to the 3 people who made it to the end of this video, thanks for watching. I will try to post some actual flight footage of the MakerWhoop soon, and see you next time.